Okay, let's talk differences between original Gloomhaven and Jaws of the Lion. I decided to create this video because I am a long-time Gloomhaven player and I played Jaws of the Lion and I was all over the place in the beginning because I didn't thoroughly read through because I thought I knew everything. There are quite a few changes, so Gloomhaven vets, make sure you stay with me. And also I would suggest one thing, follow that learn to play scenario guide really closely and don't do what I did and start putting loot tokens out there before you should, getting experience before you should, all those types of things. And let's get started with the first difference. Pushing and pulling are different. Yep, in Jaws of the Lion, you get to decide. Say you've got to push 3. You can push 1, 2, or 3. In Gloomhaven, you're pushing 3 unless you can shove them into something. This just allows for a little bit more flexibility. It's a nice quality of life improvement for Jaws of the Lion, and I would expect to see this rule in Frosthaven. And also, players, remember, you can skip the push completely if you want to. Retaliate. And if you're a Jaws of the Lion player, you're asking yourself, what is retaliate? Well, retaliate is a condition or an ability that a figure has where if you attack it, you take damage, and monsters can have it and you can have it. In Gloomhaven, there is retaliate. In Jaws of the Lion, for simplicity's sake, there is no retaliate. So in Gloomhaven, there's a scenario called Black Barrow. It is the first scenario. It's quite hard for a first scenario. You're really getting thrown into the deep end, and a lot of people when they first play Gloomhaven are like, holy, this is crazy, how is this so hard? Luckily in Jaws of the Lion, it's got a nicely laid out tutorial, and again, Gloomhaven vets, make sure you really follow the rules. Don't do anything you're not told to do. And so there's a much better tutorial system, learning system for Jaws of the Lion. And that's why it's almost a little bit of an introductory type of product, even though it was made afterwards. And don't forget that we're going to talk about which of these you should buy at the end of the video, based upon whether you have one or the other or whether you have neither. So stick with me. It's going to be interesting. In Gloomhaven, because there's so much content, there's retirement. You essentially get a personal quest, and once you fulfill the requirements of that personal quest, you're allowed to retire that class. They're like, yep, I'm good. Doesn't matter how much money you have, etc. Their life's purpose is fulfilled, and they are done. If only it were so easy. Now, in Jaws of the Lion, that doesn't exist. There's no personal quest. There is no retiring. You're essentially taking a class from level 1 to level, let's say 8 or 9, and sticking with that class because I think there's 25 total scenarios, and you can get Jaws of the Lion done in approximately 12 if you just, beeline through and you don't take any of the side quests. And what this does is it actually gives us an advantage in Jaws of the Lion, and I think it's really cool, so stick with me. We'll talk about that coming up. There's been a key stat removed from monster cards, and that is the range stat. In Gloomhaven, there's a range stat on the monster cards, and so when they pull an attack, they automatically have range. In Jaws of the Lion, range is specified on the card. They don't actually have a range stat that's inherent to them. I actually really like this. It kind of cleans up the card. It makes it a little bit easier to just quickly scan it when you're trying to run the monsters, and I actually really like this change. Okay, so because we're not retiring classes in Jaws of the Lion, you actually get to trade items freely. In Gloomhaven, you're not allowed to trade items at all. You've got to sell them back for half if you don't want them, or you wait till somebody retires and all their items go back into the the item pool, let's call it. In Jaws of the Lion, though, because there's no retirement, there's no risk of people abusing the system and hoarding items and giving them to their next character and having an instantly powered up character with, all their previous characters' items, that sort of thing. And so you can actually swap items around based upon the scenario. You can swap items around if you decide to change your build, and it really allows you a lot of flexibility in just trying out new things and, working as a team to maximize each of your builds with the items. I think it's really cool. I hope you're liking the video so far. If you could, please go ahead, hit that like button. It really helps me out a lot. And subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so that when I publish new content, you're notified. I've got a couple other rules videos for Gloomhaven. I'm gonna link them up top and also down in the description. So go ahead, check those out. Next, Advantage is different between the two games. So in original Gloomhaven, when on Advantage and cards were ambiguous, you had to choose the first one drawn. And sometimes you'd be like, oh, this is so much worse than the second card. Why is this rule like this? I hate it. All right, I'm going a little bit far here, but I don't know. I just have so many bad memories of things like that happening. In Jaws of the Lion, you get to pick, and it fits the theme, right? Lots of times in Gloomhaven, you get to choose. You get to choose, which order, when you're taking damage for a shield, you get to choose whether it goes on your chainmail or, on your card or whatever. And so being able to choose makes more sense to me just based upon how the rest of the game runs. And I think it's really cool too. Okay, I just wanted to kind of put this at the end just to help you decide, whether you own Gloomhaven or whether you own Jaws of the Lion or whether you own neither, whether you should buy or not. So you own neither of them. This is going to depend on your gamer group. If you know people that are, relatively high level board gamers, that are okay with complexity and are okay putting in a little bit of extra time to set up and stuff like that, then you can go and buy Gloomhaven because you're essentially getting 4 times the content of Jaws of the Lion for about double the price. So you're getting twice as much content for the money. Jaws of the Lion, you should buy it if you don't have friends who are into, let's call it medium weight board games and higher, so that you can ease them into it. There's a lot of rule simplifications. There's a lot less setup because you're actually, using the book instead of, setting up tiles. So there's a lot less fiddliness in Jaws of the Lion. And so, you should definitely buy Jaws of the Lion if you're trying to ease some of your friends into board games. Now, if you own original Gloomhaven, should you buy Jaws of the Lion? You should absolutely buy Jaws of the Lion. It's amazing. It's totally worth it. You get to experience more of the Gloomhaven universe. Frosthaven won't be out probably for at least another 6 or 7 months at the time I post this video. And so you should definitely buy Jaws of the Lion. I was unsure whether I should buy it because it looked like a beginner style Gloomhaven, but it's not really. It's just streamlined in a bunch of good ways. So if you have original Gloomhaven and you've gone through the campaign, buy Jaws of the Lion. It is 100% worth it. And then if you own Jaws of the Lion, should you buy Gloomhaven? 100%. If you're enjoying Jaws of the Lion, there's just so much more goodness in Gloomhaven to enjoy, but just make sure you're ready. It's going to take a little bit longer to set up. You're going to have to spend a little bit more time, setting up your organizational structure, setting up organizers for monsters and cards and stuff, because the insert in the Gloomhaven box, it's not really that good. And so you're going to need to spend a little bit of time just, making sure that you're really organized. And once you're there, you can set up Gloomhaven pretty well. I hope that helps. Please go ahead, comment on the video. Let me know your thoughts, any other rule differences that you've encountered, or any gameplay differences. Go ahead, comment below. Thank you so much for watching the video.